Welcome to week 6. This is your writing project number 1 week. So basically, here are the rules. You take your homework 5, right? And your homework 5 is a definition and description of an item that could be used in your field to solve some sort of a problem or another. And your homework 5 said that you were to read and take notes on chapter 7 in your textbook. This chapter is about writing definitions and descriptions. For the purpose of this and future homework, you all have your own group, organization that you belong to, and you kind of invent your role in that. And your homework 5 assignment is to write an open letter containing a definition and a description of a piece of equipment or procedure that is currently in use at your organization. That is to say, your made-up organization with your made-up piece of equipment or procedure. And for more instruction on open letter, then you want to return to your textbook on the chapter on correspondence for further definition there. Okay, so for homework 5, you were strongly encouraged to invent your procedure or piece of equipment in order to avoid plagiarism. Be as creative as you like while still being plausible. If you choose a procedure or a piece of equipment that already exists, any details that you borrow from any source will have to be cited in APA style with signal phrases that state the publication details and in-text citations that give the date of publication. In addition, APA style strongly prefers paraphrases and summaries to quotations, so avoid using any more than a few words from any source, and those words that you borrow must be in quotation marks. Source types include anyone's speech, any publication, any internet source, and any student work. If you heard it or read it somewhere, you must cite your source. And you're strongly encouraged to make it a small thing so that you can fully develop your definition and description in the word count given. Okay, so for homework 5, your audience is your employer and coworkers. Your purpose is to explain to them the function of the tool or the procedure, what it does in a couple of sentences, right? This is for homework 5. But remember, this week we're writing project number 1, which asks you to triple each of these sections. So in homework 5, in a couple of sentences, you explain the function of the tool or the procedure. So triple that, and you're going to have a fairly healthy paragraph, say 6 sentences, in which you fully explain the function of the tool or procedure. After that, the second thing you do is explain how to identify it. You identify it and visualize it working, so you explain the working mechanism. If it is an item or a procedure, either way, there is some way in which some work is happening. So if it were a couple of paragraphs for the homework procedure, you want to triple that, and maybe you're going to get more along the lines of 5 paragraphs or so. And then finally, you're supposed to make a recommendation about the safety of using this procedure or piece of equipment. And in your homework, that was the final or concluding paragraph, so you can assume that in your writing project, you're going to make this a longer section, kind of a discussion section that precedes the concluding paragraph. So a discussion section that's maybe 3 paragraphs long, and then a final sort of short wrap-up paragraph that follows it, okay? Your selection of definition and descriptive language should not only give readers a clear image and understanding of this item or procedure that you're talking about, but it also should lead them well to understanding why the item is or is not safe on the job. You are writing in response to a company memo from an employer or a supervisor dated August 15th, 2018, expressing your concern about a safety issue. Excuse me, I keep saying this wrong, don't I? You're writing in response to your supervisor's concern about a safety issue. And your supervisor is requesting your expert opinion, so you're responding to this about the safety of this piece of equipment or procedure. In the letter, she or he has asked you to define and explain the thing, write a description of it, and give your recommendation. Okay, so again, this was what you did for homework 5. So your writing project 1 is just to take your homework 5 and to make it 3 times longer. But as you know, in technical writing, you cannot fluff this. Fluff is anathema to technical writing. The writing must be concise. So how do you make it triple the length? By greatly increasing the level of detail. Talking about small things, describing them, giving a lot of visual information, giving a lot of maybe information about spaces, sizes, colors, strengths, materials, manufacturing processes, assembling processes, distributing processes, but greatly increase the level of detail. Okay, your description will be used to address concerns for all staff at your organization, which includes both technical and non-technical personnel, some of whom must communicate your finding to the interested parties outside the company. So you need to address the various needs of this broad audience, and you need to consider how best to organize your information and include the technical detail needed by this audience. So here is another place where you can see that if you're addressing a very broad audience, then you must make things that they might be very familiar to you, but you have to assume that most of your audience doesn't know what you're talking about unless you give very good definitions, very clear definitions, a lot of specific and concrete language in your letter. You're going to invent your own role as writer of this open letter, give yourself a job title that's appropriate to the job that you anticipate you will have or would like to have once you are employed in your field. So all of that you already did for homework 5, you may keep as you like what you have already written, but you need to greatly increase your level of description and your appeal to your audience. The following guidelines are that you are writing as an expert on your topic, you are writing for the needs of your readers, you are writing very, very accurately and very, very objectively, and you are using the format of abstract body conclusion for your descriptions for your paper. Use at least 2 analogies. You don't need more, even though we're making it longer. And to practice the visualizing test with a friend. Always a good idea to get another pair of eyes on anything you've written. Most people are very much better readers than they think they are. Now, your homework 5 was to be 600 to 900 words, so that means that your project, writing project 1, is going to have to be quite a bit longer than that. Okay. And of course, another very important thing that you want to do before you switch over to the writing project is you want to look at your group members' reviews of your homework and see what kinds of feedback they gave you regarding your persona, regarding your attention to your audience, regarding how they perceive your accuracy and your objectivity, regarding how they have evaluated your use of ABC format, and look at what they thought about your analogies. So have a very good read of all of the different feedback that you received from peers on your homework 5. It will help you. You and your peers are very, very advanced in college by now, and you have read a tremendous amount of material. When you add up all those textbooks and all those papers that you've written and all the research that you've done and the presentations that you've given and all the feedback and exchanges that you've gone through in various classes for years now, you're very good readers, and you should want to pay attention to the feedback that your partners give you. Okay, so the writing project 1, it's a definition and a description. Says here 900 to 1100 words, so that's actually not triple, but that's what I wrote, so that's what we're going by. Homework 5, you turned in last week, and this week, by Tuesday, you want to make a good amount of changes on that homework 5, increase it for length, make improvements suggested by your partners. And by October 2nd, what you're going to do is submit it for a similarity check. And so this is going into a Turnitin box, Turnitin.com, and it's going to give you a similarity analysis. And the reason that we do this is that it gives students a chance to check potential plagiarism that the program can identify, and make needed corrections before submitting the final document. The reason that I use Turnitin.com for students, it's a couple of things. Sometimes students are terrible at paraphrasing, and that is a very complex skill to develop, and the feedback from Turnitin.com can actually help you see exactly what kind of problem you're having with your paraphrasing, and then you can think about ways to improve that, ways to write down somebody's idea without using their words, putting it in your own words. Okay, so this week you won't be giving responses to peers this week. You'll just be working on Project 1. You'll just be revising Homework 5 and expanding it for Project 1. And then Project 1 is going to be due on Thursday. And it will be in another Turnitin.com space specifically for the final project. Okay, so again, you review the Homework 5 assignment instructions as we've just done. You review your own Homework 5 and your partner's feedback, and you want to develop and perfect your work. Okay. Let me see if this is helpful. Yes, the objective is you want to develop your details, making your definitions very precise, including more ways of defining. Including things like categorizing the procedure or the piece of equipment. What group does it belong to of other kinds of pieces of equipment? If it is a, I don't know, driving lawnmower, that puts it into the category of drivable landscaping equipment. A drivable lawnmower is actually a kind of a mini tractor, right? Bobcat is also a type of a tractor. Okay, so it belongs to a larger category. So when you're defining something, you want to say what category it belongs to, and that gives readers a very much faster and easier way to understand what it is you're talking about. So if you're talking about a special way of giving injections, then you put it into the category with other things that are hypodermic needles. I don't know. Anyway, comparing and contrasting that item with others that are similar, it is like these other things, and providing examples. So it's like a hypodermic needle, but it's not like a dropper, right, as a contrast. Second, develop your description with specifics and sensory cues such as visual and even tactile or kinesthetic descriptions. What does something feel like? How is something used? If you move your body to do so, do you use your fingers? Do you use your shoulder? These kinds of things really open up what you're talking about for your reader. And let me see, I think we talked about some of these other things too. Anyway, this assignment sheet is in Blackboard under Writing Projects, so you can find it there. All right, have a good week.